Hi, I'm Tony Nichols, and welcome to Chamber Chat. Hi, and welcome to Chamber Chat, a program put together by the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce to keep you informed on what's going on in your chamber and in your town. Joining us now is Zach Evans with Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit, but he's also the Vice President for the Wicomico County Farm and Home Show. Zach, welcome to the program.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You are the VP of the Farm and Home Show, but that's not what you're here to talk about. You're here to talk about a county fair?
A county fair, yes, sir.
Where did this idea come from?
Well, you know, like a lot of stuff in Wicomico County right now, there's a lot of change going on.
Yeah.
Big revitalization downtown, strong push with the campus, you know, a lot going on. And we thought it might be a perfect time to switch up what we had been doing. The Wicomico Farm and Home Show is not a new organization or a new event by any means.
78 years?
78 years,
Yeah.
Yep. This will be our 79th.
Yeah.
And we just thought this was the perfect time to, you know, to try to switch things up and bring some new energy to an event that we think is important to have here and it benefits local community. So
very cool. I think the time is now for anything like that. You hear about change across the United States. Sometimes it's good change, sometimes it's bad change, but I can't think of anything that's happening around here that hasn't been good change. So we certainly have high hopes for this change as well.
Yes, sir.
What is the correlation between the Farm and Home Show, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Delmarva Chicken Festival?
Yeah, the relationship with the Chamber of Commerce has been excellent. We got started early this year, and we knew that we wanted to take some of the more popular, you know, more important events from the Wicomico Farm and Home Show, and we wanted to revitalize this event and bring new energy to it. So we got together with the Chamber of Commerce, and they actually now own the rights to the Delmarva Chicken Festival. For whatever reason, you know, there wasn't going to be a chicken festival this year, and we thought, what an excellent way to highlight agriculture in Wicomico County. You know, a county fair resonates with certain people. It has a certain preconceived image that most people associate with a county fair. You know, we thought if we could partner up with somebody like the Chamber and use the relationships that they have in the community, leverage them with the relationships that the Farm and Home Show has with the agricultural community, bring those businesses, those farmers together, bring some of the activities that were more popular at the Chicken Festival, some of the activities that were a big hit with the Farm and Home Show, mash them all together, and let's have ourselves a county fair. Very cool.
I know growing up, like many other people watching, how many fond memories do I have of going to the county fair in eastern North Carolina. And the cool thing is it was right at the end of our road, the road that we lived on. So I think it, to your point, taking the best of both worlds and putting them together, creating something that's even more special, even more relevant, can only be successful. I can't see it being anything less than successful because you have the successful parts of both elements of both programs. Why a fair? Why do you think it's important to have a county fair?
To have a county fair, I think, you know, again, a county fair, it has a certain preconceived, you know, image. Most people associate a county fair with agriculture, with community.
People getting together, having a good time.
People getting together, having a good time, family oriented.
Sure.
You know, Wicomico County has some bustling metropolitan areas, you know, the city of Salisbury, the Chamber of Commerce, you know, that's why we pulled them in. They work a lot with those businesses. But agriculture is still the #1 industry, you know, here on Delmarva, and especially in Wicomico County. You know, poultry's big, grain's big, vegetables are big. And more than anything, we really wanted to highlight, you know, the importance of agriculture. We wanted to educate folks. We wanted to remind folks where the food comes from. And we wanted folks to interact with the people that are producing, you know, their food and that are putting that food on the table. And I think that's important, especially with the younger generation. You know, we want to do a lot of educational things, children-focused activities to bring in, you know, all generations, and really once we get them there, we want to teach them what these farmers are doing on a daily basis.
I think it's vital. I know I grew up in the country, so to speak, and my kids, who, you know, are grown, 2 of them are grown and one's 16, they don't know what it's like to live in the country and all the elements that go with it. So I think it will bring a piece of culture back to a group of people where it is currently being lost.
Yes, sir.
So I think it's great. What are some of the events? You know, when you think of a fair, you can't help when you in your mind's eye, when you start looking at the events that take place, you can't help but smile because they're all, as to your point, so family oriented. You know, friends getting together. But what kind of events can we expect to be part of or to see at the fair?
Yeah, we're so again, you know, we're bringing in a lot of stuff that we formerly did at the Farm and Home Show. So, you know, you think county fair, you think livestock.
Sure.
You're going to have your livestock shows going on. You're going to have your competitive entries for fruits and vegetables and grain. You're going to have, you know, baking entries. You're going to have arts and crafts, photographers, paintings, all of those sort of great things. You're also going to have some mounted, you know, cowboy mounted horseback shooting demonstrations going on. You're going to have classic car shows, a motorcycle show, a Jeep show. We're bringing in some inflatables, a rock wall, and some small carnival rides and amusements for the kids. Again, a lot of educational things. You know, that's really what our focus was to educate folks about agriculture.
Sure.
So we're going to have the DPI, you know, sponsored chick tent will be there with an incubator with chicks where children can see them hatch, you know, see them little furry guys stumbling around fresh out of the egg. We're going to have a straw maze. You know, we're going to have master gardeners are going to be there from University of Maryland Extension. We'll have a live entertainment stage. We'll be doing a tractor pull. We'll be doing a wing eating contest to bring in the local firemen. You know, we want to get them involved.
You're making me want to go now.
We've got a whole lot going on, man, and I know I missed quite a few things, but you'll have to come out and see what else we have to offer.
You might have missed a few things, but you listed quite a few things as well. So,
yes, sir.
You know, as soon as you start talking about the baking contest, and you're thinking of the cornbread and the apple pies or the cherry pies or whatever it is,
you know, we'll
that they're
have
baking.
Cornbread and chicken eating contest. We may need a judge or two.
Hey,
I'll see if I can get you in there.
I'll take one for the team.
Okay. All right.
I'm willing to step up. So when and where is it going to take place?
The show is August 14th, 15th, and 16th. The fair will be hosted at Winter Place Park in Salisbury, right off of Route 50, off Hobbs Road. Nice and easy to find.
Yeah.
And you know, our hours will be opening up Friday. We'll start the livestock shows at 2 p.m., you know, because we got a lot of kids with a lot of animals we got to get in there.
That's right.
So we're going to go 2 to 9 on Friday. We'll go 10 a.m. to 9 on Saturday. And then we'll finish up 12 to 4 on Sunday with our awards and our final presentations and everything.
Fantastic. Is there a place that we can go to find this information out, or do you have a website? Or?
Yes, sir, we do. Got a brand new website. It's wicomicofair.com. You can check us out on there. You can find us on Facebook. And you should, you know, here coming up in the next few weeks or so, you should be hearing a lot more about us, you know, through radio ads and television advertising and billboards. And we hope you won't be able to miss us.
Very good. So, give us the dates one more time.
August 14th, 15th, and 16th.
Zach, thanks for coming on and telling us about the upcoming Wicomico County Fair.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me.
All right. We'd like to give you an opportunity now to take a look at the upcoming events with the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. Welcome back to Chamber Chat right here on Pac 14. Joining us now is Robby Sheehan, Deputy Chief of Staff and Director of Government and Community Relations with Salisbury University.
Yep.
Welcome back to the program,
Thanks so much for having me.
Glad to have you back.
Good to be back.
You the last time here you were talking about the Advocacy Division. Say that 3 times fast. A lot of things have happened since then. So can you give us an update on what the Advocacy Division has been doing for the Chamber?
Absolutely. We've been keeping very, very busy. Certainly, we saw the legislative session. We've had a number of issues, you know, in the city and county that we've been keeping our finger on the pulse of, and just trying to keep keep our membership informed and engaged with our local governments, our state governments, our federal governments, making sure our members understand what is going on, and trying to take that voice on behalf of our membership back to the elected officials to make sure that they can be informed when they go to make policy decisions. So we continue to have our local legislative roundtable, which we've now termed the Advocacy Roundtable, which have been enormously successful. We have a packed house every month that we hold those meetings. That's on the second Thursday of every month from 8 to 9 a.m. at the chamber downtown. And past couple of months, we've actually focused in on this drug epidemic here locally, heroin and opioids. And it's actually an issue that has taken the entire nation by storm. And we're very fortunate that we have the Sheriff Mike Lewis, who is now a national expert on the issue. And we're really trying to address this issue because the drugs in our community are really what is fueling the crime, what is fueling a lot of the blight in the community. Like a lot of our issues are because of this one systemic issue. And what we found through those different roundtables was that nobody's immune to these drug issues. A lot of people that get addicted to heroin start off with painkillers, and these are middle-class kids. So this is an issue that affects everyone, and it certainly affects employers and the quality of life in our community. So this is something that we've really taken a strategic look at, and it's been a very, very good and positive conversation. So we're in the process of developing an exposition for drug awareness and prevention that we hope we'll be able to schedule in the fall or the spring, and really just bringing the community together. The governor was down, Lieutenant Governor, both of them, to talk about this issue several weeks ago, and we were in attendance. So we're really looking forward to working with those in power to try to address this issue. Yeah,
drugs and the impact that it's having on our community is something that is in the forefront. It's talked about all over the place, and I still think we need to talk about it more. Talk about it more. It needs to perpetuate, and it needs to be discussed at every kitchen table, every church, every business, because we need to really get a handle on it.
Yeah, and really, I mean, the Chamber of Commerce right now is the eminent civic organization in Salisbury, and I feel that it is our responsibility to address this issue and try to facilitate that conversation and dialogue. So that's something that we've been working on and focusing on.
We're going to look forward to keeping that going. You're also working on a few things over the summer.
Yes.
Some lunch and learns designed at getting to know your civic leaders, your government representatives.
Exactly. So this goes back to sort of what I was talking about earlier, where we try to make sure that our membership is engaged with our policymakers, our elected officials, and really facilitating that conversation. Our advocacy division, we've got 5 active members right now, and it's impossible for us to know all the issues that are going on in the different industries throughout our community. So this initiative, which is going to be starting on July the 15th and run every Wednesday until August the 19th from 12 to 1:30 in the chamber downtown. We're going to be bringing specific industries together with representatives from the city and the county, and really it's just an opportunity for individuals to express issues that they're having, whether it be the permitting process or too many regulations. It's really an opportunity for these business leaders to sound off in a collaborative, productive way. We will have a moderator to talk about these issues. So we're really looking forward to that, being able to put these business leaders out in front with our elected officials to have that conversation. And we're really excited that we get to facilitate that conversation.
So when is the last time that the community has been in a meeting with elected officials where the elected officials are supposed to be quiet?
Yeah, not any community meeting that I've been
and
to
I'm sure
in a while, because they always do the talking. So this is a great opportunity for these business leaders to talk to the elected officials.
The chamber, over the years, as we've built this advocacy division, I just can't say that word. We've not endorsed candidates. We've been very open about not endorsing candidates, but we have endorsed issues. Or things of that nature. Can you speak to some of the issues that the chamber has supported or not supported or had a position on?
Yeah, certainly the stormwater remediation fee, which was implemented in the city of Salisbury. We worked collaboratively with our elected officials to talk through that process, and ultimately a number of us felt that it was important that it move forward to update our infrastructure, our aging infrastructure. That has a lot of impact on our community, the quality of life, the health of the Wicomico River, stuff like that. And so the amount that we reached, I think, was a reasonable amount, and so that was an issue that we certainly stewarded and worked very closely with the city on. The other, most recently, was the fire service agreement, and of course that was a huge concern to all of us. The mayor saying that he was going to draw down fire service in certain areas unless the county and the city were able to come to an agreement on how much the county was going to give the city for some of these reimbursable service calls. So we're really happy with the leadership that the county and the city it took and really just coming together and facilitating that conversation. Certainly we were involved in the conversation as well, and from what I understand, we're moving forward in a positive way, and so we're pretty excited about that.
You've just come back from the legislative session as well.
Yes.
How did we fare?
In April. We fared very, very well. In February 2015, the results of the Augustine Commission were released, which were recommendations, and essentially the Augustine Commission was put together as a panel to look at different issues throughout the state in our business community, what was sort of holding Maryland back from advancing, in economic development. And so the recommendations that came forward, first was a reorganization of the Department of Economic Competitiveness and Commerce, actually the establishment of a new department with that title, working with the Department of Business and Economic Development to become more research oriented, to actually get out and talk to the people, try to figure out what these issues are, across the state, in Salisbury, in Baltimore, in these different, major metropolitan areas, to figure out what business leaders were saying, about state regulation. So that is going to be, actually, they've set up a follow-up commission to actually do that. Gotta love the state. There's a committee for everything. But they are actually going to take a strategic look at these regulations and start to dial it back. And we were very pleased with Governor Hogan. No new tax increases, fee increases, actually a reduction of fees, like the tolls. Coming back to the Eastern Shore. And for me, driving to Annapolis every day, that's helpful. That the tolls are going to be reduced. So we're really pleased. Governor Hogan, took great strides at trying to tackle the state deficit issue. He took out, essentially, his proposal was to actually completely eliminate the structural deficit and then some, and then give the state a surplus. But after working with the state elected officials, we took out about 65% of the $1.2 billion structural deficit that our state is facing. So that was a very positive step forward, and certainly, we were really sad to hear about Governor Hogan and his condition, and our prayers are certainly with him. But we're looking forward to working with Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford. His daughter actually goes to Salisbury University. My other hat, at Salisbury University. That has certainly been a positive relationship that we'll continue to steward. But we made out very well this legislative session, and I think that we're going to continue to do well in the coming years.
Very good, man. Well, look, anything else you'd like to give us before we kick you out?
Not really.
You're a busy man.
I'm a busy man.
A lot of things going on.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on in this community. It's really exciting to be here.
Taking the time to come in and see us.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Robby, we'll see you soon.
Thanks.
We'd like to give you another opportunity now to take a look at the upcoming events with the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. Welcome back to Chamber Chat. Joining us now is our first dual guest that we've had on Chamber Chat. We have Andy Wisk, and I'm going to read this, Acting Director for Wicomico County Recreation, Parks, and Tourism.
Yes, sir.
And Steve Miller, Tourism Manager.
What's up?
So he gets the big long title, and you just get Tourism Manager.
That's up.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And let's just get started. Let's go back to the title. I've lived, from North Carolina to here and traveled around several places, and this is the first place that I've known to have recs, parks, tourism. Oh yeah, we got a civic center in there, all wrapped up in one. How has that fared? I mean, does that present challenges, and why did we decide to do that?
Well, the Department of Recreation and Parks for Wicomico County is one of the oldest in the state of Maryland.
Okay.
And it's always been a symbol of the county's commitment to its citizens' quality of life. The interesting thing is that that back in the 90s, our elected officials had some great foresight, and they combined tourism and the Civic Center with recreation and parks. So now you've got all three agencies working under one umbrella for common goals to improve quality of life, but then we created the opportunity to leverage assets for economic growth within the community.
Gotcha. So, Steve, from a tourism standpoint, do you feel that it has helped by having this partnership, or has it helped the community, the things that are going on in the community? Has it helped tourism? How, and from your position, how is that blended?
Well, it's huge. Andy mentioned the leveraging of assets, and when you look at what tourism does and some of the scales that we operate on and hosting regional, national, even international poodle show, there's no way we would be able to do that and operate on the scale that we've been able to operate on if we didn't combine all of our assets with Rec Parks, Tourism, Civic Center. This past year, for tourism events that we've been involved in, it'll be $47.5 million economic impact. So that's money being infused into our community that recycles, where people can sign up for leagues and buy groceries and do the things that they do.
I guess you don't need a big title when you can manage and impact the community that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, the title doesn't mean a whole lot. But when you look at, I'll give you an example, the 3-week World Series that we'll host the last 3 weeks of July. That's the biggest event that we do. But when you look at that event, it's a great example because we'll use the Civic Center 3 different times for check-in days. We'll use it twice for our opening ceremonies. We'll use our Parks Department. We'll help prepare and get all the fields ready for that World Series event. Our Recreation Division, they'll basically mobilize all of our volunteer base and our local Little Leagues. Our Sales and Marketing will produce a program book. Our box office will handle all the transactions. And when you look at the scope of all the things that have to happen to pull an event like that off, we couldn't do that on our own, and so it takes a total team effort to do that. And one of the neat things too is it's cyclical. When we bring an event in to rent those facilities and to buy concessions and to do the things that they do, that actually reduces the tax burden on the local citizens because it's helping support those facilities. So we contribute certainly to the community, and I think it all cycles and everybody wins.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you're getting old.
That's what my wife says.
10 years now? Yeah, a little over 10 years now you've been with the county?
I've been with the county 13 years.
13 years, yeah.
Yep.
So, certainly you could probably give testament to the things that Steve is saying about how things have been successful in this hodgepodge or blended platform that we operate under. But have you found it difficult to balance the needs of the community, because we're here for community, but also create events and create programs where people will want to come?
Absolutely. It is it's a delicate balance because our core mission is quality of life for our local citizens. So the last thing we want to do is displace our local citizens who enjoy those very same ball fields or other venues that we're leveraging for out-of-towners to come in and spend their money here. So what we do is we work to find events that fit when those fields aren't being used. Right. And Wicomico County is very fortunate that we've got a very large and diverse park system. We've got 39 sites that we maintain, and so there's enough space to go around. We're not over capacity at any at certain times a year at facilities. So we're then able to turn around and say to the Fruitland Little League or East Wicomico Little League or other groups that maintain facilities and say, hey, work with us here on this event, and here's the money you're going to generate, and here's what you can do with it. And we've seen those facilities improve tremendously. A great example is Fruitland added lights and redid their fields, in part because of the revenue that they're generating tied to the Softball World Series.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, there's no doubt that when these things come in, they benefit, and the sports has made a tremendous impact in those revenue numbers that you were talking about. And if a little birdie told me, I think in 13 years ago, you started as a sports marketing rep. Is that right?
I was the county's first sports marketing rep. I actually started as our athletic complex manager.
Okay.
And about 12 years ago, I had a phone call with an event organizer, and 25, 26 years old, and I said, hey, what will it take for us to host a World Series here in Salisbury? And he kind of chuckled and he said, no offense, kid, but you're not quite there yet. So we worked at it, improved facilities, improved our network with our volunteers, better coordination, invested seed money through tourism in it, and next thing you know, 9 years ago, we had a 54-team softball World Series.
How has sports? That's a good segue. How has sports, the programs, the tournaments that we have, how has the sports aspect impacted the county?
Tremendously. We've grown since I was the very first sports marketing representative. We did about $6 million in economic activity. To this past year, sports accounted for close to $30 million in economic activity in Wicomico County.
Wow.
So that's about a 10-year span that we've grown that much.
That's fantastic. And Steve, that ties right back into your part of this sports thing.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's growing. How over the years your team is obviously expanding.
Mm-hmm.
What challenges have you guys wins, but also what kind of challenges have you guys had to overcome in keeping that foothold that we have in the sports industry to keep those teams coming back?
Well, I think there are a number of challenges, but when you talk about amateur sports in particular, one of the main challenges is that people are catching on all over the country. It's a big business.
Sure.
And so there are a lot of areas and a lot of counties that may have deeper pockets than Wicomico that are building brand new facilities, and the competition is fierce. So we have to work very hard to keep what we have, but also to continue to grow what we have. And so I think that's one of the main challenges we have, is to continue to keep our facilities up to date, to have attractive assets and places where people can go and enjoy. So that's certainly a challenge that we face. Another challenge we face, and you've heard this many times through the chamber, is keeping our business community particularly aware of what we do and the value that tourism brings. Right. And so when these folks come to town, it can be very simple things like putting signs on your marquee or helping sponsor or get involved, but just the awareness of the community to know this is what's happening, these are the people that are coming in, and treating those people well so that they have a good experience and want to come back. And so that's an ongoing challenge, just to make people aware. People are going in 100 different directions and
all the time.
And so it's a challenge for us, but it's certainly beneficial, and it's helpful when folks know and they can treat people well, and that's part of their experience. It certainly complements what we can do to bring people back.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Andy, you just heard Steve talk about some of the challenges that the county faces. What are some of the things that the county may be doing to help combat those challenges or ease that pinch point, if you will?
Yep, we continue to invest in our infrastructure as well. We'll be working on about a $3.5 million restoration to the Civic Center, getting started very, very shortly. A much-needed facelift to that 30-plus-year-old building, but is a key asset for us in things, especially like dog shows and wrestling tournaments for tourism events, concerts, or even a family reunion. So we're gonna see a facelift there. We're working to expand the Henry Parker Athletic Complex so that we can create a hub facility, which is what these event organizers are looking for. They want 8+ fields at one site to be able to host their events. We're renovating Purdue Stadium in conjunction with the lease renewal with the Shorebirds. Right. So that's a gem specifically for baseball. That's a real attraction to have kids come and be able to play in a minor league stadium that's of high quality. And tourism continues to invest in minor improvements in facilities that we use, whether it's irrigation upgrades or seeding, fertilizing, just to keep them at a national caliber. Additionally, we've started a first of its kind thing in the country from what we can see. It's called the Middle Atlantic Amateur Sports Alliance. And this is a partnership with Worcester County and the town of Ocean City, where we're leveraging our assets together to attract large-scale events.
Right.
And that Softball World Series that Steve talked about was really the first MASA event because it required facilities in all three communities. But we're really hopeful that we're planting seeds and going to bear some fruit very soon with MASA for some more large-scale events. And what that does for Wicomico County is if we market as MASA, all of a sudden we've got a beach attraction. And what it does for Ocean City is if they market as MASA, now they've got fields to support an event,
Sure.
or a civic center and a convention center, and everybody's working very nicely together. And I think the best is yet to come. I think stay tuned and see where we're going with these things, and the trajectory is going to continue to go.
Well, the results so far have been very impressive. Both of you guys are very impressive, and we look for nothing but impressive things to come. So, Andy Wisk, Steve Miller, thanks for joining us here on Chamber Chat.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank you as well for joining us here on Chamber Chat. As always, if you missed any portion of this program or you would like to view previous programs, you can visit the Chamber's website or our YouTube channel, or you could visit PAC 14's website and utilize their on-demand feature. Well, that's about all the time we have for this edition of Chamber Chat. My name's Tony Nichols, your host, encouraging you to make a difference.